Check this out. There's that potential for a tropical system to form by the end of January, according to some of the long-range models in the CPC, and we're currently dealing with some pretty severe flooding in parts of Mindanao. I'm meteorologist Robert Spetta. Let's break down this update for you out here today. First, starting off with the big controlling factor for our weather today. It is this cold surge just absolutely pouring in from eastern areas of China all the way down towards the Philippines. And with that, we actually been seeing some CFX snow, pretty decent ones out there across Japan. But the leading edge of that surge interacting with our moisture down here towards the south, coming in just towards the south of Palau, and that interaction just triggering up heavy rainfall across Mindanao. There's been some areas just last 48 hours seeing well over 150 millimeters of total precipitation, and thus we have been seeing some water levels continuing to rise out here. In fact, just go back to this videos that I sent into our Westpac weather watchers here, and this is out of Bislig. Also looking at landslides in Davao de Oro, flooding in some of the schools, and a lot of schools have been closed. Governmental office has been closed as well. So this ongoing situation here for our friends across parts of Mindanao. And you know, there is still more rain in the forecast. I think the heaviest of it has backed off a bit, but you take a look here at the future cast as we go ahead through our Friday into Saturday. And you have plenty more of that precip. In fact, let's just take a look at the outlook here. I'm going to go back right there and hit stop on this. We'll grab this little tool. This is actually a pretty little cool tool, courtesy of Metro Weather. By the way, this is Metro Weather's weatherscape. I can kind of scroll over, and yeah, still an additional 100 to 200 millimeters. The color coding here too is the temperature gradient, and I think this is really interesting because it does show you kind of where that temperature interaction is in our latest cold surge as it pulls down here towards the south. So yeah, plenty more rain in the forecast. Get this pulse by Wednesday over towards Thursday. At least by Friday and the Saturday, I do notice that things do kind of back off just a bit for some of these areas being impacted. But overall, I mean, just with that energy, and you still have that onshore flow, especially some of the mountainous terrains on the East Coast, still going to be looking at more rainfall. Places like even Siargao, overall breezy. May not be the heaviest of precipitation in the world, but definitely going to be looking at some pretty decent winds out here as well, just coming in from the north and east, wrapping around and pushing it across our area just like that. And then you get those pulses of energy coming in just like that down here towards south. All right, so if you look at this though, over the next 5 days, definitely thanks to our shear line and our cooler air spilling in, we are seeing a very little in the form of tropical threats. But let's go ahead, take a look at the long range. This is all the way through the end of the month, guys. So we're looking all the way out to the end of January and maybe in the start of February. And yeah, the GFS trying to pull for something here. Now, for much of the Philippines, this is actually, if this type of setup took place, it would be more of an enhanced cold surge or strong Amiha winds. Places like Palau could be looking at some pretty decent rainfall if this did come to fruition. As you know, I like to use these spaghettios, though, when I'm looking at long range outlooks, because just one look at the operational model doesn't tell you much. For example, the ECMWF isn't showing anything, but there are some of these circles indicating that some of the guidance is trying to pick up on a low pressure area forming somewhere in the Philippine Sea at the end of the month. And then if we look at the Climate Prediction Center, they do have that hashed out area in red, which does indicate a 20 to 30%. So it's not zero, it's not high either. It's saying, you know, there's a potential. May not be the highest risk, and it's nothing I'm gonna start sending out alarms about at this time, but definitely there is the potential of something trying to develop. All right, for now, let's get through our rain that we are seeing currently across Mindanao. Look at Davao, General Santos, Cagayan de Oro on Thursday. Still more precipitation. Places like Tacloban, Metro Cebu as well. Going to be looking at cloudy skies, a little breezy. Been asked this a lot to add Poro Princess, or at least over towards Palawan, into this flyover, so that's in there as well. High of 31. Cloudy skies out there for you, but not so much in the form of rain. Legazpi, you're going to be looking at that chance of precip on the East Coast, while Manila's got partly cloudy skies. A high of 30 here on your Thursday, and a bit cooler back towards the north. For places like Iligan, just a high of 27. And even in the higher elevations, if you're talking about like Bagyo, for example, highs are into the mid 20s out there. But Davao City still looking at some additional precipitation. Sharga as well, highs only into the 20s there for you. And then we just scoot over towards Cebu. You're going to be looking at partly to mostly cloudy skies. All right, big thanks for everybody on Patreon. As I said, this graphics are from Metro Weather's Weatherscape. Big thanks to them. If you're looking for great graphics, be sure to check them out, especially for TV level type stuff. Also, a huge thanks for everybody on Patreon that continues to support and allow us to do this. My goal is to get there full time one day. One other thing, hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Even if you don't typically do that, please do. It really does me a favor. It really goes a long way because our goal is to get to 100,000 subscribers. And I'm going to do a big giveaway for one of our subscribers when we get there. So even if you're thinking about it or not, just hit it. And you can turn off notifications. I would prefer if you turned them on because that's how you really get notified about our updates and, you know, especially when we're talking about typhoons and stuff like that. But at least for now, it does help out. So that's all for today, guys. Long range tropical outlook, potential of something at the end of January, but we're still dealing with a flood threat here in Mindanao. And then we have that cooler air continuing to dominate the northern half of the country. I'm meteorologist Robert Spett. As always, thanks for watching and stay safe out there, friends.